Hello YouTube, it is your boy V3 back with another kicking movie reaction review. I said I wanted to move away from horror and do a few like sci-fi movies. This one has some horror elements, but it's mostly kind of sci-fi actiony. Boa versus Python from 2004. Rated R, horror sci-fi, hour and 40 minutes. It has a 28% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 3.6 out of 5 on Vudu, 82% of Google users like the movie. Quick read-up, an FBI agent, played by David Hewlett, and a biologist, played by Jamie Bergman, release a specially bred serpent to hunt the gigantic snake that has been putting the squeeze on unwary humans. Released in May of 2004, directed by David Flores. Originally aired on the Sci-Fi Channel. This was pre-Asylum, by the way. And it's part of the Python film series. I had a feeling it was. I did have to look that up because it's a completely standalone. But it apparently is part of the Python film series. You can stream it on Tubi, Pluto TV, Vudu, Amazon Prime Video, YouTube, and Google Play Movies and TV, starring Jamie Bergman, David Hewlett, Kirk B.R. Waller, Adam Kendricks, Angel Boris, Marini Stakacheva, Griff First, and a few more. So, quick story before I tell you what I thought of this movie. I've wanted to watch this since I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was obviously big into giant monsters, and my aunt worked at a video center. That's how you can tell how long ago this was, because people still sold and rent videos in video centers, like video stores still existed. But she was able to get me posters sometimes. She got me the poster for Godzilla Tokyo SOS, and she got me the movie poster for Boa versus Python, because they would have the movie posters for like new releases up and stuff, and Boa versus Python is one of the new DVD releases. And it's a really cool poster. The poster makes them look kaiju sized, but they're not really kaiju sized in the film. But the poster makes them look like city destroying sized kaiju. And as a kaiju kid, I was in love with it, but I never found a copy, and even if I did, it was rated R, and I wouldn't have been able to watch it as a kid anyways. And now, because I was in 4th grade when this movie came out, right? And now, I'm a 26-year-old bro, and I can finally watch this movie. Boa versus Python. And I gotta say, it was a wild ride. Like, it was a crazy ride. I still have this poster up in my room, and it's gonna stay there because this film was crazy. You know how people say it's okay. So it's a sci-fi exploitation film. This is 100% about as exploitation film as you can get. It's wild. So, this rich casino owner and his friends want to hunt a big game animal. So he smuggles this oversized python into the country to hunt it. And of course it escapes, kills a bunch of people, etc. Hides out in a water treatment plant. And he gets his guys together because he's a rich white asshole. He doesn't care about the law, obviously. He smuggled this animal. He was going to poach it. And now he's like, we'll just get all our guns and just march into a water treatment plant and start shooting the place up because we're rich and there's no consequences for anything. In fact, that's shown at the beginning of the movie, that they don't give a fuck. Because at the beginning of the movie, the rich guy and his girlfriend are at a wrestling match. And guess what the wrestlers are called? Python and Boa. Yeah. And they're the same colors as the snakes they correspond to. Ooh. But, like, their names are snake-themed, but neither of the wrestlers have, like, a snake motif in their outfit. It's literally just one has a black and red leotard and the other has a green and red leotard, and there's nothing snake-like about their outfits. And I was like, these are the least creative pro wrestling outfits I've ever seen. But one of the pro wrestlers falls out of the ring in front of their like booth seat that they have because they're rich. And when he falls out of the ring, the girlfriend pulls a gun on him in front of an entire crowd of people. She pulls a gun on him and is like, "Get back into the ring and entertain me." No consequences for that. Holy shit. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. And the guy says they were $500 seats, but they're literally sitting at like a fold-out table and fold-out chairs. And I was like, that's a $500 seat? Fold-out chairs? Dude, you got gypped, motherfucker. You got gypped. And then, he like, when they're back on their plane, she gets like in their jacuzzi on the plane. And there's a lot of nudity and skimpy outfits on women, and then there are like a lot of shots just of scantily clad and naked women in this film, simply because the director didn't have any faith in what they were I've gone on long tirades about this before, how lots of times low-budget films will fill themselves with nudity and sex simply because they don't trust in their story or anything to keep the viewer interested in. They don't have faith in their own art, and I think that's pretty pathetic. That being said, welcome to exploitation films. Wouldn't be a real exploitation film without nudity, now would it? So she gets in the jacuzzi, and you see this, she has this giant full back tattoo of like this big cobra. And then the boyfriend, like as a prank, releases like a small snake into the bathroom, and she carries it out, and she's like, "Do you think this is funny? I hate snakes." And I was like, you hate snakes? If this character in the film hates snakes, why does she have a full back tattoo of a cobra? And apparently that prank was how he revealed to her they were going to be hunting a giant snake. In real life, hunting a giant snake would be boring as hell, because pythons and boas, like, they sit still for long periods of time. They're not an exciting thing to hunt. They're not super fast. They just kind of move around all slow like. They can be fast, but they usually aren't. They would be a very boring thing to hunt. And they often like ignore humans when they get close and stuff too. So that would be a very boring thing to hunt in real life. But it's this aggressive, huge, giant one that's big enough to eat people, so, you know. Lots of snakes in the world are big enough to eat people, but these are like big enough to eat multiple people and have them in their stomach at once. These are huge snakes in this film. So this python, of course, escapes en route, and it gets in the water treatment plant, as I said. And the government figures it out pretty quickly. Like, normally in these films, even when they're confronted with evidence, the government's like, "Big snake? No way, it can't exist." But props to the agent investigating it. He realizes it and accepts it extremely quickly. But it turns out the reason he was able to do that is because the government had a secret program to like breed giant snakes for warfare, which might be the plot of a previous movie, because they do talk about the program getting shut down and stuff. So that might be the plot of a previous Python film. I don't know. This is the only one in the series I've seen. But I do have the others on my Prime watch list, so you will get to see them at some point. I will review them. I got a ton of snake movies saved because I love snakes. So I just have a ton of snake movies saved, giant and regular sized. So here is the plan that this agent comes up with. His very first plan is Dr. Serizawa's plan from Godzilla 2014. The very first plan the government thinks of in this movie is, we need a second giant snake to fight it. That's the first plan. They don't even try guns. They don't even try guns. So they go to this herpetologist, who's probably the worst herpetologist in the world. Like, as soon as we get there, because they also hire this marine biologist. She has invented these implants that she, like, puts in dolphins to help them, like, rescue people. and they're going to put it on that snake to help it kill the other snake. The boa is the good snake, and the python is the bad snake. And you can tell because the python's red and the boa's green. And you... Actually, that's wrong. I'm just kidding. They didn't... I meant to say blue. I was going to say, ooh, the python's evil because it's red and the boa is good because it's blue. But it's actually the opposite. The boa is red and the python is green. So they didn't do the whole red-blue thing, which I kind of thought they were going to do at first, but they didn't. That's why I made that goof. But they go to him because he has a giant snake, and he's apparently feeding it. He's feeding his giant boa venomous snakes, which he calls poisonous snakes for the entire movie. Hence why I said he's the worst herpetologist in the world, because there's no such thing as a poisonous snake. There are only venomous snakes. And he's like, by feeding poisonous snakes to this boa, they'll build up an immunity to the poison in them, and then I can harvest anti-venom from their blood. And I'm like, dude, that wouldn't work, because snakes aren't poisonous. There's no poisonous snake in this entire world. There's only venomous snakes. So, that wouldn't work. And then there's also this, like, tank of common garden snakes, right? And the marine biologist is, like, frantically tapping on it, like, which you're not supposed to do to reptiles in glass. Like, geez. And the herpetologist doesn't try to stop her from doing that. And then he's like, poisonous snakes, like the ones you're looking at now. And even if he said venomous, it still would have been wrong, because they were garter snakes. And also the poisonous, quote-unquote, snake he fed to his boa was just like a small ball python, which is, of course, not venomous. Oh my god. Not venomous. He's the worst herpetologist in the world, and he does mention having no funding when they meet him. And of course you don't have funding, because you're fucking terrible at your job. Oh my god. So, they... I'm sorry, it's so stupid. So, they put it in the tunnel to go find the other snake, and then it turns out this party of rich hunters is down there to kill the snake as well, and then they find out there's two snakes, and they're like, oh wow. Most of the hunters end up dead. The agent ends up dead because one of the hunters shoots him on accident, because they're idiots. The hunters are dumb. Like, I don't hunt, but I grew up on a farm in the South, and I've been hunting with people. I hated it. It's because my dad made me go because he wanted to make me a man or whatever toxic bullshit. But, like, there are just general safety precautions involved in hunting and just gun use, period. And these quote-unquote professional big game hunters didn't follow any of it. The only two that were dressed appropriately were the father and son, and the son didn't even want to be there, and the dad was an idiot. Like, there are a lot of comedic beats in this movie, which I enjoyed. I've said often that I don't like horror comedies, but I don't really consider this a horror film. It doesn't really try to scare you at any point, this film. It's really just straight up sci-fi. But it's got a lot of humor in it. Lots of it falls flat, but like, there are points where it's pretty funny. Like, there's this one kill. So, you know, in these movies there have to be just, like, random characters that are there just to be killed, right? So there are these teenagers making out in this car. I didn't fucking know they were teenagers until the film said they were teenagers, because they both looked 40, right? Didn't know they were teens. They got the door open. This guy is eating his girl out. And then the snake eats him. And you know how snakes, like, sense the air and stuff by flicking their tongue out? So the snake starts doing that. And then she starts reacting to it. So the snake is eating out the girlfriend of the guy it just ate. And then it eats her. And I was like, that's gross as hell. But it's pretty fucking funny. Oftentimes scenes like that in movies I actually find to be pretty stupid. But I thought it was pretty funny this time. I don't know what about it specifically made it funny. I guess just because it was so bad. I don't know. It was pretty awful. This film is so stupid. But yeah, so the python ends up actually trying to mate with the boa, right? But that doesn't work out. Because the damn boa is already pregnant, turns out. The guy had been trying to get it pregnant, like, artificially for a while, and it was pregnant, so it laid eggs and stuff. And, you know, they chase it around. The boa kills the rich guy's girlfriend, who's trying to look like the lead from the Resident Evil movies in the whole film. And then he swears vengeance on that snake. He eventually gets killed. There's like so much I could say about this movie. He eventually gets killed when the snakes attack a nightclub and fight. And neither one of the snakes really wins the fight because the boa has this implant in its head where they can, like, knock it out. Like, it's an electrical shock. Like, it's basically a taser in its brain where they can knock it out. But it only has one use. And they use it. Yep. And it, like, sends the snake knocked back, and then it launches the python into a subway tunnel where it gets hit and decapitated by a train. So the boa doesn't actually defeat the python. The humans kind of do. But it's pretty wild. This film is objectively terrible, but it's so bad it's good. It really is. It's like so bad it's laughable. Like, I was just laughing. And not even at the jokes in the film, just at how bad it was. Because the CGI is trash, but it's for TV movie CGI from 2004, so what can I really say about it? The acting is absolutely terrible. Now, the two leads, the herpetologist and the marine biologist, their acting is pretty normal television acting, but then all the other characters have some of the worst acting I've ever seen. Like, there are these two other agents, this one guy who arrests the millionaire before the millionaire gets torn in half later, and there's also another agent who's kind of the right hand of the main agent who dies, and she also acts like a robot. Like, they're just terrible, terrible acting. It's got a lot of... The sets are fine, you know. The nightclub set looked like a cheap nightclub, but it did look like a nightclub. And this is just exploitation films at its finest, you know. It was funny. It was bad, yes, but it was funny. So that's it for today's video. I am actually about to poop my drawers. So thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below, Facebook, Twitter, etc. And I'll see you all next time.